putting in that mindset of, I'm not going to break. I am going to persevere. By any means necessary, I'm going to get through this moment. And as long as you have that built down into your core, that you're going to make it through, eventually you will. You will outlast, you will overcome, you will make it through that challenge. Whether you're beat up or not, you're going to make it out the other side. And that is a very hard thing to do because it feels like shit. It feels like garbage. And the reason perseverance is hard is because you don't know when the ending is. It could be a day, or it could be years, right? Could be years of hardship. And if you pick a task like martial arts or entrepreneurship, guess what? You're getting banged up for the rest of your life. You are in constant perseverance mode.
It's part of the game.
It never ends. Because the minute you stop growing or trying to elevate to new levels, that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is another week and another episode of the Budo Brothers podcast. You got Kyle.
And Eric.
And today we wanted to get real and talk about some real things. Lately, it has been a grind for us because we've been dealing with these manufacturers and, we work so hard to bring people the best, only the best is good enough. And we'll make these products and we'll make these things and they'll send us these samples. And then when they make a full run order, they'll send us something different. And it is just a shot to the heart because your capital's tied up. You now have to negotiate with these people in order to fix it. And everything could just be so much smoother if you just did it right the first time. But how many times in your life do you need to persevere through things? And the lesson comes in the perseverance.
I also feel like we're almost destined to repeat the same mistakes until we actually learn the lesson that the situation is there to provide you and to teach you. I know, how many people do you know that they don't see, as an outsider, you can see what's going on in their life. They can't see it. They can't see that they keep choosing the wrong partner. They keep going to these dead-end scenarios until they learn the lesson that the universe is trying to give them. They're going to repeat the same mistakes. And I see it in us too. Mm-hmm. We repeat. Sometimes we're so busy. Yeah, you know what? We're not, we won't check this. Don't check. Oh yeah, just get that going. And little did we know, well, did we cross all the T's and dot all the I's? And if we don't, that's on us. And that stops with us.
Mm-hmm. And there's a story we've told before, but I think it's worth telling again. I love to hear it as a reminder too, just to keep going, right? It's the story of the samurai sword, right? So you have this rock that's pulled out of the earth, and it's this shapeless thing. And a swordsmith goes and starts grinding it and hammering it and putting it in heat and putting it in these conditions that bring it close to its complete melting point where it will no longer exist, but then it cools it and beats it and shapes it. And it's a metaphor for life. You will keep getting beat up, shaped, molded, tested, and put through all of these different tests until you fit and align in your purpose. So this rock gets pounded and pounded and pounded and pounded and shaped. And eventually what comes out is a beautiful samurai sword. But you wouldn't know it from the process of it. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't know it by looking at it. You'd think that this guy's just beating the shit out of this rock. But something amazing gets created. Diamonds are the same way. Mm-hmm. You have a piece of carbon, right? It's useless. But until pressure is put to it, until it is formed and crystallized, that's when it becomes beautiful. That's when it becomes of value. Mm-hmm. And if you sell yourself short in these moments of pressure, you don't get to reap the rewards of the growth that comes from it.
Yeah. If the diamond tapped out and said, I don't want that much pressure, the diamond doesn't turn into a diamond. It takes a lot of pressure to create a diamond, heat, temperature, over thousands of years for it to become a diamond. So as a metaphor, you're right. We do need to switch the way we think of this and welcome the tests, welcome the challenges, because by the very definition, it's there to make you stronger if you persevere.
Right. You also have a very cool way of looking at things too. Putting pressure and persevering through things sets up a moat or sets up something to set you aside from other people, right? Because the harder it is and the harder you have to work through it makes it that much harder for anybody to enter the game. It sets up a moat around you, right? When you're training martial arts and you're putting yourself through rigorous takedowns and testing and boxing and jits and Filipino martial arts, and you're doing these things that cause you to get beat up. And not a lot of people are willing to go through that to glean these skill sets. The only way to get to being an amazing martial artist is to get beat up a hell of a lot. Mm-hmm. The only way to have a business that has a moat around it that nobody else can do is to go through the hardship. And looking at these hard tasks as ways of weeding out weak people or people who cannot operate at the same level as you is a much better way to attack these problems.
And on the metaphor of the sword, each one of those problems that comes in is the hammer going down and ding, hardening each one. And when it's happening, when you're receiving the hammer, it's not fun. Mm-mm. And it's very easy to convince ourselves, and we've fallen victim to this, where we start to think, man, how are we screwing up? I thought it was going good. And then we get it down in the dumps, and then we start making decisions out of scarcity. When we need to flip the script and catch ourselves in that, when we start getting down in the dumps, that's where it takes observation to realize that, whoa, wait, I am falling for the trap of a lower energy. This blame. Oh, it's not our fault. It's if only this and what if. Mm-hmm. Take responsibility for the current state because no one else has produced this current state but us.
Yeah,
we're the only ones to blame.
Yeah, and just putting in that mindset of I'm not going to break. I am going to persevere. By any means necessary, I'm going to get through this moment. And as long as you have that built down into your core, that you're going to make it through, eventually you will. You will outlast, you will overcome, you will make it through that challenge. Whether you're beat up or not, mm-hmm. you're going to make it out the other side. Mm-hmm. And that is a very hard thing to do because it feels like shit. It feels like garbage. And the reason perseverance is hard is because you don't know when the ending is. It could be a day.
Yeah.
Or it could be years, right? It could be years of hardship. And if you pick a task like martial arts or entrepreneurship, guess what? You're getting banged up for the rest of your life. You are in constant perseverance mode.
It's part of the game.
It never ends because the minute you stop growing or trying to elevate to new levels, that's it.
It's almost like life is designed to be difficult.
Yes.
It's just the way it is. And as soon as you accept that and you accept that difficult things that are worthy of pursuit, by definition, are going to be challenging and they're going to start chipping away at you. But just like when you're working out the body, you're breaking down the muscle to build it back up so you can now lift heavier. And we've seen this in our own personal growth as martial artists and as entrepreneurs. Look at what we're putting out. We are two dudes doing everything.
Yeah.
Content, product, packaging, R&D, creating new online courses. We're two guys. We put out work, but we would not even be coming close to the volume of work that we're putting out right now and are currently beating ourselves up thinking it's not enough. 2 years ago, you and I looking at our future selves being, no way, we would have to have a team of 8 to do that.
It's so true. And it just, by constant progression. And I think we watch too many maybe Disney movies and coddle ourselves too much. Because if you go look at nature, that is raw savagery. Like, everyone's like, oh, look at that lion, it's so amazing, until it just goes and eats and tears something apart, right? Nature is difficult. The strongest survive. There is laws to it. And to think we could break the laws, just have everything be amazing and magical and not have to put in hard work or deal with hardship, you're crazy. You're crazy to think that you will not have to deal with hardship. And look at the hardship our ancestors had to get through to get us here. If they didn't go through hardship, we would not be living in this beautiful society that we live in. So what? Society's just supposed to stop now? We have to go through the hardships now for the people in the next generations. It's the only way.
And getting used to the process of dealing with hardship. And because guess what? I don't think things are going to get any easier in the short term.
No.
Things are like, buckle up. Yes. Like, you might we're in this, we're on this wave, we're in the game. We're going to stick to it. Just no matter how choppy the waters are going to get, because I really do think the waters are going to get choppier. I think our civilization is going through some major transitions right now. And in any transition and in any big shakeup, any big change, it's uncomfortable. It's challenging. What used to be normal doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Letting go of that. Even just letting go of the old world that we loved, which no longer exists. Things are in a constant state of flux, a constant state of change. There is no stagnation. And why would you want to stagnate? You become stale. Moving, rolling, growing, that is the way.
And perseverance is breaking through a mental prison. Right? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, start Budo Brothers, do all these things. You don't have to go to martial arts class.
No.
You could sit there and do nothing all day. And if you flip it to the other side of things, the problem or situation that you're stuck in that you think that you have to break through is sometimes people's reality their whole lives. Let's say you're short on finances and you're super stressed. If you were to go then look at some kids growing up in, let's say Mexico, because I've been there, who have absolutely nothing, no money. They're not persevering. They're smiling, laughing, playing. But yet here you are and you have nothing. And you're in a completely different mindset. Perseverance is a cage put on by your mental thoughts and processes. If you as is things, like I'm here right now and I have to do these things to get through, to survive, there should be no emotions attached to that. There should only be actions attached to that, right? I need to generate more capital in order to survive and to give my family the things that they need. There's no emotion connect to that. That's what you have to do. But all of a sudden you're like, oh man, Lois, me, I need to do this. I should be a millionaire right now. I should have a boat and a Ferrari and I'm 40 years old and I don't have anything. And then trap.
Yes.
Your only focus should be, I need this in order to do this. No emotion. Let's go, right? But we don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could just focus on the why all of the time and just take the stories out of the way, perseverance becomes a lot easier. Like, why are we doing what we're doing? What is it that we put ourselves through this pain for?
Because I know what we're doing is helping other people. We are creating value. We are serving the community. We are playing a role that elevates others. It helps people with their training. It helps them feel good about what they're learning, what they're rocking. They make you feel stylish in Budo Brothers hood gi. There's value there. We're helping people tap into their passion. We're helping people discover new passions. This is the why. Service is the why. And when you realize that it's not about you and we're not just doing this. We're not doing this to get rich. Hey, abundance is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
But we're not chasing dollars here.
No. And when you chase anything like views, dollars, status, it never happens.
Exactly.
It's like Voldemort. You say it and it just doesn't. It's this thing. I have a vision of what it is like that I can represent it with. If you picture a donkey pulling a cart, right? The cart is all your problems, turmoil, stresses, things fighting you from reaching your goal, and you're the donkey. I guess you could say you're a jackass. But perseverance, that mindset, is the carrot dangling in front of you. And that has to be your why. The why has to be dangling in front of you, that carrot dangling in front of you that keeps you going and keeps you pulling and pulling and pulling until you make it to greener pastures. You no longer have the stress on your back, right? The why is the carrot that gets you through everything. That's what locks in and combines within your mind, your soul, your body to get you through all the tough stuff, right? Like, I'm sure UFC fighters, they want to be the heavyweight champion of the world, but it has to be deeper than that of why they want to do it, right? Or else they don't get there.
Yeah, I can totally see that. It's interesting to think about that because, if to use the analogy of the carrot, will the donkey ever get the carrot? If it's hung in front of them, is that an unachievable goal?
But do you think you'll ever be 100% fully at your goal? And I know so many times as soon as you get something, the goalpost moves.
For sure. And this is where I actually really enjoyed Simon Sinek's The Infinite Game, where he talks about how there are companies that choose their infinite game, a game that cannot be won.
Yeah.
But it is their reason for existing. I can't remember all the examples that he gives, but it's kind of like a mission statement. Mm-hmm. But for instance, ours, we help people tap into their true potential through martial arts. It's a tagline we've used for a long time.
Yeah.
There's no end point to that.
Right.
What, every human on the planet is a martial artist?
and is using it to better themselves?
Right. But if all of our actions go with that thought in mind, that we are helping somebody tap into their true potential through the lens of martial arts, whether that's top shelf training gear, incredible educational content that you can then learn from masters, we are living that mission. We are, and it starts to work when everything you do is in line with that mission. And you're serving other people, which in turn elevates you, which elevates them. It's this perpetual growth cycle where you're constantly providing value. And just like anything in an ecosystem, that which provides a greater value to the whole is itself more valuable. Anything that degrades the ecosystem and takes more than it produces will, by definition, go extinct. It doesn't produce more than it consumes. It'll go extinct. It's no longer useful to the ecosystem.
Yeah. We also get too connected to the flashier, the shiny things, or the representation of things that are beautiful. And in nature, it's like a butterfly or a flower, right? You plant a flower, it's a seed. Actually, we just had these flowers bloom in our backyard. They were amazing. But I didn't even think it or know it had a flower. And these things are just these beautiful pink flowers. But you plant a seed, it grows, it's this green stalk, it shoots up high, and then for a brief moment in time, it flowers. And then the shit dies, right? Butterflies are the same. It's a cocoon. It's an ugly worm. It cocoon and it comes as a butterfly, and then it dies. Is the worm or the caterpillar less important than the butterfly, right? But everybody's like, look at this beautiful butterfly.
Yeah.
You never like, man, that caterpillar's so cool. Mm-hmm. Look at that thing. It's working so hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's doing its caterpillar thing.
Yeah.
We only value these things. And in our realm, in our space, it tends to be money and material things. Stunting on people, watches, like these Instagram moments that people are all chasing. Mm-hmm. It's just stick to your process. Stick to your why. Keep your head down and put in the work, right? And just have faith in yourself. Faith in yourself that you will persevere.
Sounds like a Budo Brothers challenge.
That is the Budo Brothers challenge. Have faith in you and persevere.
Done.
Awesome. Well, until next week.
We'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you persevere.